I watched him freeze my credit card, slam his suitcase shut, and vanish from my life in exactly 3 hours because I told him I was only staying for the card. I had no idea that saying that would lead to his sudden disappearance, the account lock, and a ghosting so complete it felt like I'd been erased from his reality. What I'm about to reveal will expose the fragile balance between love, convenience, and the digital footprints we leave behind, and why a single offhand confession can shatter a relationship faster than any argument ever could. I met Alex at a rooftop bar in the summer of 2022, the kind of place where the city lights flicker like fireflies and the conversation is always about future plans. He was a software engineer with a smile that could sell ice to a polar bear, and his Instagram was a curated gallery of travel photos, brunches, and the occasional just me and my dog selfie. I, on the other hand, was still paying off a student loan that felt like a weight glued to my ankle, and my credit score hovered in the mezz zone. I'd spent months scrolling through friends, stories, watching couples post new apartment photos, while my own rent was a never-ending negotiation with a landlord who seemed to enjoy the drama. When Alex mentioned that he'd just been approved for a premium credit card with a zero intro APR and a hefty travel rewards program, my heart did a tiny, involuntary skip. I wasn't a gold-digging gold digger. I was a 20-something who had learned the hard way that a good credit line could be the difference between a vacation in Bali and a staycation in my cramped studio. The idea of sharing that card, of piggybacking on his financial stability, felt like a lifeline. I told myself it was a pragmatic decision, not a moral compromise. Our first few weeks together were a whirlwind of Netflix binges, late-night pizza deliveries, and the occasional let's go on a weekend getaway text that always ended with a question about whether we could use his new card. I was careful, though my friends warned me about credit card co-signing and financial entanglements. My best friend Maya, a financial analyst, sent me a meme that read, "If you're using his credit card, make sure you're not using his heart as a backup plan." I laughed, posted the meme on my story, and added a caption, "Just a little financial advice for the love-struck." Little did I know how prophetic that meme would become. The first time I used his card, it was for a pair of designer sneakers I'd been eyeing for months. I felt a rush of empowerment as I swiped, the transaction instantly reflected in his app, and a notification pinged his phone 150 purchase at XYZ store. He didn't comment, just sent a thumbs-up emoji. That was the moment the power dynamic subtly shifted. I was the one pulling the strings, the one who could dictate a purchase without a second thought. Alex, who had always been the quiet, supportive type, became the silent enabler. Our friends started to notice. During a dinner party, my roommate Jess nudged me, whispering, "You're always using his card, aren't you?" I laughed it off, just a little convenience. Jess's eyes narrowed, and she posted a story later that night when love turns into a credit line. Adulting. The comment section exploded with jokes about financial domination and credit card love triangles. I tried to brush it off, but the digital chatter lingered, echoing in my mind each time I logged into my bank app. A week later, Alex surprised me with a weekend in a cabin upstate. He'd booked everything with his credit card rental car, Airbnb, even a spa day for 2. As we sat by the fire, he turned to me, his face illuminated by the flickering flames, and asked, "Do you ever feel like you're just here for the perks?" My mind raced. I could have laughed, deflected, or confessed the truth. Instead, I blurted honestly, "I'm only staying because of the credit card." The words hit the room like a cold wind. Alex stared at me, his eyes widening, then narrowed. The fire crackled, but the warmth between us evaporated. In that instant, I saw the consequences that would follow, though I didn't yet understand how devastating they would be. Alex's face hardened, and he said, "If that's all you're after, then we're done." I tried to apologize, to explain that I was scared of financial insecurity, that I didn't want to be a burden. He didn't respond. He stood, grabbed his suitcase, and left the cabin without a single goodbye. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a notification from my banking app, "Your credit card has been frozen." My heart sank. I called him, but his voicemail was a cold, automated message, "I'm sorry you're experiencing issues. Please leave a message." I texted him, I emailed him, I even tried to DM him on Instagram, but every attempt was met with a digital wall. The freeze was the first blow. My credit score plummeted, My pending purchases were denied, and the travel rewards I'd been counting on evaporated. I felt exposed, as if the whole world could see my financial vulnerability. My friends, who had previously teased me, now sent messages like, "Are you okay? And did you talk to Alex?" The social validation that once buoyed my confidence turned into a chorus of concern, each ping on my phone a reminder that I was now the subject of collective speculation. I tried to rationalize my part in the disaster. I know I messed up, I told myself, but he overreacted. He could have just talked to me. I was defensive, yet partially aware of my own greed. I posted a story that night, a picture of a frozen credit card with the caption, "When you get ghosted for the wrong reasons." The comments section filled with memes about credit card ghosts and financial heartbreak. It was as if the internet was both my therapist and my courtroom, judging me for my choices while simultaneously providing a platform to vent. The next day, Alex's social media was a blank slate. His Instagram, once brimming with curated moments, showed a single post, a black and white photo of a closed door, captioned "Closed Chapters." No likes, no comments, just a silent statement. I felt a pang of guilt, but also a strange relief. The mystery of his disappearance was both terrifying and oddly satisfying. I imagined him packing his life away, leaving behind the credit card that had become a symbol of my manipulation. Friends tried to intervene. Maya called me at 2 a.m., her voice hushed. "You need to cut him off. He's using the freeze as a power move." Jess texted, "You deserve someone who loves you, not your credit limit." Their validation felt like a lifeline, but also a mirror reflecting my own shortcomings. I realized that my narrative had shifted. I was no longer the confident, in-control woman who could navigate any financial hurdle. I was a fragile figure, clinging to a credit line that no longer existed. In the days that followed, I discovered the full extent of the consequences. The frozen account meant that all recurring subscriptions, Netflix, Spotify, my gym membership, were suspended. My landlord, seeing a missed rent payment, sent a polite reminder that felt more like a threat. My credit score, once hovering at a respectable 680, nosedived into the 550 range. I was forced to confront the reality that my pragmatic decision had left me financially exposed, socially embarrassed, and emotionally raw. The emotional whiplash was relentless. One moment I was furious at Alex for his coldness, the next I was ashamed of my own greed. I oscillated between blaming him for ghosting and berating myself for using him. My Instagram story turned into a diary of self-reflection. Lesson learned: never mix love with credit. The comments ranged from supportive emojis to sarcastic jokes about credit card karma. I felt both validated and mocked, a duality that kept me glued to my phone, refreshing for any sign of Alex's return. Weeks turned into months. I tried to rebuild my credit, applying for a secured credit card, attending financial workshops, and even joining a debt-free Facebook group where members shared their stories of fiscal redemption. In one of those groups, a user named Finn Savvy posted, "If you ever find yourself in a relationship where finances are the main attraction, walk away before the credit card freezes." I replied, "This is me, living proof." The thread exploded with advice, empathy, and a few harsh truths about my own entitlement. Meanwhile, Alex's silence persisted. I searched his name on Facebook, found a profile with a single photo, a beach at sunset, no recent activity. I tried to call his old number, it rang straight to voicemail. I even checked his LinkedIn, which listed his current job at a tech startup, but the last update was from a year ago. The ghosting was complete, and the emptiness it left behind felt like a void I couldn't fill with any amount of credit. Justice, or perhaps karma, manifested in an unexpected way. One evening, while scrolling through my feed, I saw a story from a mutual acquaintance, Mike, who had dated Alex a year prior. Mike posted a photo of a brand new credit card, captioned, "Finally got my own line, no strings attached." The comment section was full of congratulations, but also a subtle undertone, "Glad you're not tied down." I realized that Alex had moved on, perhaps even found someone who didn't need to be reminded of his financial generosity. The knowledge was both devastating and oddly vindicating. The universe had balanced the scales. I tried to find closure in the digital remnants. I saved Alex's last Instagram post, archived the messages we'd exchanged, and even printed out the email confirming the account freeze. Each piece was a fragment of a story that had once felt like a partnership, but turned out to be a transaction. I posted a final story, a screenshot of the frozen credit card with a red circle around the word frozen, captioned, "Closed accounts, open eyes." The response was a flood of heart emojis, a few "You're stronger than you think," and a single comment from Maya, "You've turned this into a lesson for everyone. Proud of you." The final twist came when I received an email from Alex's bank, a generic notice stating that the frozen account had been permanently closed due to inactivity. It was a cold, bureaucratic message, but it felt like a final exclamation point. The account that had once been a lifeline was now a relic, a reminder of a relationship that had been built on convenience rather than genuine affection. Looking back, I see the arc of my own narrative from confident, financially savvy woman who thought she could navigate love and credit with equal skill, to someone who learned the hard way that mixing the two can destroy trust. I recognized the power dynamic reversal initially. I held the financial advantage Alex reclaimed control by freezing the account and disappearing, forcing me to confront my own dependence. My self-awareness grew, but so did my defensiveness. I still justify my actions by pointing to my financial insecurity, yet I also admit that I used a man's generosity as a crutch. Friends validated my blind spots. Maya's relentless advice, Jess's "You deserve better" texts, and the supportive community in the debt-free group all acted as mirrors, reflecting the parts of me I refused to see. Their external validation made the internal reckoning possible, and their collective voice turned my personal failure into a shared lesson. Social media, that ever-present backdrop, amplified every emotion. The likes, comments, memes, and silent posts created a digital echo chamber where my story was both judged and celebrated. The public nature of my downfall turned a private mistake into a collective cautionary tale, and the very platforms that had once encouraged my credit card love now served as the stage for my redemption. In the end, the ghosting was not just Alex's disappearance, it was the ghost of my own misguided belief that love could be reduced to a line of credit. The freeze exposed the fragility of a relationship built on convenience, and the subsequent fallout forced me to rebuild not just my credit score, but my sense of self-worth. I learned that the most valuable credit card I could ever have is the one stamped with integrity, self-respect, and genuine connection. If you're reading this and find yourself tempted to stay in a relationship for the perks, whether it's a credit card, a car, or a fancy apartment, ask yourself, what will happen when the perks disappear? My story revealed that the answer can be devastating, but it also revealed a path forward. I'm still working on my credit, still scrolling through Instagram, still receiving messages from friends who remind me that I'm more than a transaction. And while Alex's ghost still lingers in the corners of my feed, his absence has given me space to fill my life with people who love me for who I am, not for what my credit limit can buy. So, what I'm about to tell you is this: never let a piece of plastic become the foundation of a partnership. Because when the card is frozen, the relationship freezes too often, leaving you with nothing but an empty account and a ghost you can't chase.